Once again, it is time for Orange and Blue Today, presented by Champ Honda. Cecil, Lammey, Andrew Mason, and Mace. Usually when I'm in studio, I love dressing up. I've always been that way. Even when I was poor and didn't have any nice clothes, I love playing dress up. So when I come in studio, I love dressing up. When I'm at home on Fridays, it's beanies and sweatshirts.
Yeah.
But today, I had to make an exception because may the 4th be with you. And how you doing, Chewbacca? So
Chewie, is that you?
Yeah, exactly. I love it. Love it. Love it. May the 4th be with you. You and I have been down with it from day one. So Mesa, may the 4th be with you, my friend.
And you as well. I mean, I think I erred in not having something Star Wars as part of my ensemble, but okay, I wore the Yoda shirt 2 days ago. The problem is I didn't put a lot of thought into it, and if I had planned right, I would have worn the Yoda shirt and I would have gotten the Star Wars hat today, but I had the Yoda shirt still in the wash, the Star Wars hat I was going to go upstairs and get, but got into a conversation here at the house before I did the show, and then I just grabbed the hat from my hat rack here in my office, and that's it. By the way, it's not Star Wars, but I changed my desk a little bit, and so you can see that little that little wall art there.
Yeah.
That is an old school Buccaneers poster from like 1982.
Wow.
I want to get the Broncos version of that because the NFL did one of those for every team.
For every team, right.
And I keep looking for it on eBay to find it. Literally, I got that poster at the Oldsmar Flea Market in Florida for like $2. And
Can't beat that.
And I framed it, and I remembered seeing it when I was a kid. I'm like, I really love that. You got like the old orange and all that. But and the Bronco one, I think part of it has like a representation of Bucky atop the scoreboard at Old Mile High Stadium, and I think it doesn't have Randy Gradishar's name, but there's a picture of somebody who I think has the same number and looks very much like Randy Gradishar. So, because they had the NFL, it was an NFL officially licensed product, but I don't think they had the NFLPA backing on it, right? So that's just kind of how those things worked back in the day.
Yeah, the 80s, we had some quarterback club stuff. Remember that? Like there's some video
into the
games,
90s.
Into the 90s had that. So NFLPA, quarterback club, NFL, like we had a little bit of that.
But remember with the quarterback club, not everyone was part of it, right?
Right.
And because there was something with that. Was Randall Cunningham in the quarterback club? Because
Eagles QB, I think.
QB
and it might have been one of the
Eagles.
reasons why on Tecmo Bowl he was Eagles QB.
Yeah, QB Eagles is what he was. You knew it was him. It had all of his attributes, had his number as well.
Right.
But they didn't have his name, right? But like John Elway was in the quarterback club. And there is some absolutely fabulous pictures from that era of the quarterbacks in the QB club wearing the merchandise from back then. And you've got Jim Kelly wearing the Zubas in red, white, and blue for the Bills.
Dan Marino's kicking around with that curly hair, right?
Yeah. Jim Everett is one of them. He's wearing a shirt. And this was in 1990. Nutmeg Mills did these shirts that were kind of depictions of football cards, front and back, and the back had like the bio and the stats, and the picture in the front had like the action shot. And I think Jim Everett is actually wearing the shirt that looks like his football card in one of those pictures. So,
can you wear your own shirt?
It's a good
like
question.
When you see a band and they're wearing their own merch, and it's like, okay, that's not for you. You want to see another band, like when Metallica in the 90s would wear Faith No More gear. Me as a Faith No More fan, I was like, that's awesome. But I don't want to see the guys from Faith No More wearing Faith No More gear.
You know what? It's funny because I got a lot of people jumping on me on social media when Jerry Judy wore a John Elway shirt a couple of years back.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
I thought, I don't know, you're wearing a shirt of your boss at that point. It's kind of strange.
But your boss is a legend. See,
I
that's a
know.
difference, right?
Yeah. I get it. I just I can't, with all respect to any of my bosses, I can't think of a boss whose image I would have worn on a shirt.
We could wear James Marilat shirts. We should do that sometime. Talk about controversy. You and me wearing Jimmy Marilat jerseys or shirts. That'd be cool.
I guess I just can't. I can't bring myself to do that. I mean, I didn't wear a Pat Bowling shirt when I worked for the Broncos, right? I
Right, right.
mean, so yeah, I don't know if that's gonna happen. That's just me.
Okay, that's just
Um,
Mace. I'm just Cease,
yeah.
and we're here a little slappy today. Probably because hopefully everything works today. So I'm just like, please,
Well,
I want to do a show where I don't have to complain about the software we use for doing the show. Can we do that, Mace? Can we please do that?
we're 6 minutes in. We haven't complained yet, so that's 20% down, 80% to go. So we're on our way. We're off to a good start here. There's a long way to go. I mean, it's also all fairly quiet on the Bronco front, right? I mean, we can touch a little bit about Ben DiNucci getting the tryout. Of course,
Right,
led
right.
the XFL this past season in completions, attempts, yards, touchdown passes, rushing yards by a quarterback, interceptions. So that's why he ranked fourth in passer rating. But yeah, Ben DiNucci's getting a tryout. Two other XFL players getting a tryout, leading sacker, a second leading rusher. And I'm going to touch on it in a piece on denversports.com. I like this. I like the fact that the Broncos are trying to turn over every stone possible to get this right. Even if we're not talking about finding star players. I mean, why not have Ben DiNucci in for a few days on a tryout to see if the one-time Cowboys starter for one game back in the COVID year hasn't gotten better from his season of experience. There are going to be XFL players who do play in the regular season of the NFL this year. It will happen. And
1000%.
yeah, and it'll happen in part because some guys get a little momentum and guys got a chance to put some good film out there, and and we'll see what happens.
What we've always said about NFL Europe and the World League is that you lost your Jake Delhomme, you lost your Brad Johnson, you lost your Kurt Warner. If guys are playing and guys are throwing, DiNucci is not without talent. Like DiNucci, there might be something there. I'm not saying everyone go get DiNucci jerseys, but there might be something there. And damn it, I mean, it's so worth bringing him in as a camp arm at least just to take a peek.
Absolutely, why not? Like, get him in for a weekend. Just that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about that rookie mini camp, or get him in for a few days. And I mean, the tryout list seems to be increasing, and that's great because here's the thing: the more guys that you have in on tryout, when you have that rookie mini camp, the more you can do in practice. We're not going to get to see it, obviously, but you can. But the more players you have in there, the more that you can do with even the rookies that you have that are already under contract, right? Because you can simulate some full team things. You can do some 7-on-7 out there. You can do some more 1-on-1s. All things that Nathaniel Hackett was loath to do from time to time when he was running the team. So it is absolutely exciting, and in this regard, I mean, it's just a little thing, but it's accumulation of little things. And it's also kind of setting an attitude, right? That we are going to use any means possible to upgrade this roster, to get better players, right? And this is part of why I think we're going to see some surprise players that get cut and that end up sticking when we have the roster deadline coming up in the late summer, because there are no sacred cows there. Guys are gonna, we're gonna see some guys stick around that we're not expecting. We're gonna see some guys get cut that we're not expecting, and perhaps one of the guys we don't expect to make it that does make it's gonna be one of these XFL tryout guys.
Yeah, I love it. Talent can come from anywhere, and they're playing ball, and some of them playing good ball. So we'll see what can happen there with the Ben DiNucci, the new Cooper Rush. Man, Cowboys fans love Cooper Rush forever and ever and ever, man. Forever. I remember being in the Dallas draft and riding in my cab or my Uber to the stadium, and the driver was like, man, Cooper, they need to start Cooper Rush. I was like, wow. I mean, I know Broncos fans loved Brett Rippon now with the Rams, but like, Cowboys fans, man, they loved Cooper Rush.
They didn't love Brett Rippon in the way Cowboys fans love Cooper Rush. I would
No.
say, even though this quarterback wasn't allowed to around the Broncos as long, Cowboys fans love Cooper Rush like a lot of Broncos fans love Kyle Sloter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sloter is the one that you look back on with fondness. Brett Rippon, with all respect to Brett Rippon, I mean, nice guy,
Smart.
maximized his skill set, smart. You, Cecil, would often say that you didn't want to say anything bad about Brett Rippon because he might be a coach someday, and he's about to get an additional coaching education with Sean McVay out in Los Angeles, right? But someone got on me on Twitter today for posting that among 58 quarterbacks with at least 100 attempts last year, he was 53rd in running. He's 54th in passer rating. I mean, that's just, or 50. I think at least 50 attempts. Pardon me. That's just the facts. All right. I mean, I'm nobody, but you have to be honest about what a player is. And Brett Rippon, I think he's maximized his gifts as well as he can, but maximizing him doesn't mean that he's an NFL starting quarterback. And I think, but there are people who are going to say, "Well, the Broncos went 2-1 with him." I don't want to have the QB wins argument, my friend. I don't want to. I don't.
Right.
I'm not doing it. Or as I like to say on Twitter, #QB wins, WINZ.
Yeah. QB wins. Yeah, that's another conversation. And actually, Stetson Bennett is less than a year younger than Brett Rippon, who's been in the league 4 years.
Wild.
Because
he's
Stetson Bennett and Brett Rippon are now going to battle for the backup behind Matthew Stafford.
They'll battle. I mean, Bennett's obviously a rookie. I do think Stetson Bennett's going to end up winning that job. But hey, there's a little, sorry, the text chain went off. I guess Peyton Manning's doing the schedule release video again for the Broncos next week. But yeah, there's a little competition brewing. We'll see what happens when we get out to Los Angeles. But yeah, just to kind of break in, it's not really breaking news, but it's a morsel. It's a morsel that the Broncos tweeted out that the trilogy continues. And I guess a little bit of the Star Wars thing by saying trilogy, I guess.
Yes.
And it says the trilogy continues, schedule release coming soon. There's a picture of Peyton Manning. So they've got him back. We'll see. I thought Peyton Manning's schedule release, the sequel, was inferior to Peyton Manning's schedule release, the original. It was not like Empire Strikes Back to the original New Hope.
Right.
We'll see.
We shall see. And I almost, even though I don't necessarily care for it, of course, Orange Blue Today, presented by Champ Honda. I drink a Gatorade Zero every day. I almost got a blue one, so it'd be like Aunt Beru's blue milk, which I believe you've had, right? Haven't you had the blue milk? Didn't you Star Wars
Twice.
Galaxy experience? Really?
I had it at
That's
Galaxy's
a humble
Edge.
brag, right?
Yeah, I had it at Galaxy's Edge Disneyland. I had it at Galaxy's Edge Disney World.
Is this milk
Studios.
with blue dye? Like what is? I'm fascinated by the blue milk.
Okay, I think it's got like a blueberry tinge to it. It's not really milk. In fact, I think it's actually non-dairy, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
Yeah.
Aunt Beru counting calories out on Tatooine. I thought with all that heat, you might need everything you get. You burn all that fat off, baby.
It's okay. So it's from it's from a bantha, right? Isn't that what it is?
I believe so, yeah.
In the Star Wars lexicon. All right. So it stands to reason that coming from a bantha might have different nutritional value. But anyway, if you want to make blue milk, it's got here are the ingredients. I found a recipe here. All right, rice milk, passion fruit juice, coconut milk beverage, pineapple chunks, lime juice, Jolly Ranchers ice, and neon blue food coloring. And obviously, you're going to put them in the blender, right? But but the milk is rice milk, coconut milk, which is why they can get away with saying it's non-dairy. And I think by doing that, more people can enjoy the blue milk at the Disney parks than if it were a milk-based beverage and you had to kind of, rule out the lactose intolerant. Yeah, my daughter and I split a cup of blue milk at Hollywood Studios back in February and loved it. So
that's
yeah.
awesome. Mace the Mad Chemist. Yeah, if this was Breaking Bad, I think you would be Walter White and I would be Jesse. So yes, science. Orange and blue today.
Yeah.
That's about the only quote I can use from that show. So.
Okay, now here's another recipe. Like there's and this is from Disney Food Blog, and this is coconut milk, bananas peeled and sliced, maple syrup, ground cinnamon, vegan blue coloring, and ice cubes.
Today was a good day. Oh,
Yeah.
wait, different ice cube. God bless America.
Now all of a sudden I want to go to the grocery store and pick these up tonight and make. I might have to ask Charlotte. Hey, do you want some blue milk? Let's make some blue milk.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
a little family thing. Yeah.
That second recipe is from the Disney Food Blog, DisneyFoodBlog.com.
Okay.
I would say they've probably got a pretty good read on that because we used this site and their recommendations for a lot of the restaurants we went to on our last Disney trip, and they did not disappoint. So they know what they're talking about.
Orange and Blue today, presented by Sean Ponda. It's not all Star Wars talk or talk about Ben DiNucci, but I wanted to bring up some Star Wars topics as we celebrate May the 4th.
Let's do it.
And we are true Star Wars fans. So the Phantom Menace, Mace, I texted you earlier, and the Phantom Menace, which I can't believe it was Senator Palpatine. Like, it was obvious from day one, like, oh, that's Darth Sidious. But he was the problem that we didn't see until it was too late. So what was the Phantom Menace for the Broncos?
Oh,
I got a couple
year.
answers. They're maybe not nice, but I got a couple answers.
That we didn't see coming?
That we didn't see coming. I was so high on
Okay.
Russell Wilson. That's my Phantom Menace was Russell Wilson. Forget Nathaniel Hackett. He's not here anymore, although we could say that as well. But I was super excited about Hackett. I was super excited about Russell Wilson, and I totally got egg on my face last year.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the thing is, though, because when I saw the Phantom Menace and I knew that the Emperor was Emperor Palpatine, I was viewing the whole film the entire time knowing, okay, he's going to be the Emperor, right? So it wasn't really a phantom to me.
Right.
Like, I mean, to me, it's like, it wasn't like this big reveal. It couldn't have been more obvious.
There wasn't any plot twist there, right?
Yeah, and it's like, you look back on Nathaniel Hackett, and even though it was obvious, I think we maybe just tried to see past that kind of a willing suspension of disbelief, as it were. Because, and I was saying this last night, having a conversation actually with my wife, when I look back on the season, all the signs were there and they were obvious, and and not just the season, the entire year. It was obvious when Nathaniel Hackett gets up there at Russell Wilson's introductory press conference and sounds like a fan, not
He
like a
dropped
coach.
an S-bomb on Russell Wilson's press conference. Holy, shut your mouth, Russell Wilson.
Yeah. I mean, he sounded. Okay, that's fine if a fan has that reaction immediately. It's fine even if he had that reaction immediately, but not a couple of days later when you're doing a press conference. It was like, it just felt so. Oh, you look back on it and it's cringe. But I'll say this. That's a moment.
Cringe.
That's a moment where I reflect on it and I think this is someone who probably did not have the gravitas to guide an NFL team.
Right. That's what
At
it
this
was.
point in his life. Doesn't mean that, hey, he's 43 years old? I'm not saying it can't happen again. I've seen stranger things happen. I mean, Marion Campbell got 3 head coaching gigs back in the day, right? Defensive genius, but after failing twice as a head coach, somehow got another. So that's why I say I've seen a lot of things in my time, but I would still be surprised if Nathaniel Hackett got another head coaching job, but I'd never say never.
We've seen a lot over these years, and we saw A New Hope when we were kids. Well, I did. You're younger than me, so you saw it a little bit later. But either way,
I saw a re-release. I think
okay.
it was like in 1982 or something like that, or
Okay.
78. I don't know.
Summer of '77, I was there, baby.
I'm sure
Yeah,
you were.
that's because I'm old. But A New Hope,
Did you wait in line?
I don't remember. I met Chewbacca at Burger King in Cheyenne, and he took my cowboy hat. I was 5 years old, and my dad always told me if someone touches your cowboy hat, you got to beat their ass. And so Chewbacca is my favorite character. Love you, Chewie. And so this Chewbacca guy took my hat and put it on, and I'm a little boy, and I'm sitting there almost in tears because I was like, now I got to beat you. I didn't swing on Chewie, but I was so upset, like traumatized because like Chewbacca took my hat. And as a cowboy, never let anyone touch your hat, Mace.
With Chewie's strength, you would have had no chance. I mean, that's why Wookiees were enslaved for
Right.
their physical strength.
Right. You
So
ever have
yeah,
a Wookiee, you ever someone rip your arms out of your sockets? Let the Wookiee have your hat.
yeah,
Basically. That's what
exactly.
Han would tell me. But
Yeah, Wookiees
either
are
way,
known to do that.
sit back, lean back like that. Let's talk about the
Yeah.
new hope that is Sean Payton. Is Sean Payton the new hope? Is he the only one? I mean, are we basically painting ourselves into this corner like hey, Sean Payton, you got to fix it. Is he Bob the Builder? Like, yes, we can. Like, is he the new hope? Is he the chosen one? Is it all on Sean Payton?
Okay, he may be the new hope, but are we? All right. I think we are hoping that he can be Yoda to Russell Wilson's Luke, right? The key is Russ has got to listen to his Yoda. He can't go off running to go fight to go fight before his training is done, right?
No going to Cloud City for you, Russ.
Right. I mean, Luke. I was thinking about this in Empire Strikes Back, and Yoda tells Luke that if he goes back, he will destroy all for which they have fought and suffered. The only reason why he doesn't do that is because it turns out there is another, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe Jarrett Stidham is the other. I don't know.
The other's Caleb Williams. If we're going to talk about
Or
Force
we get to
users
next
and
year,
chosen ones, yeah.
Caleb
There's two more,
Williams
baby.
or Drake May.
There's two more. So, like, and that's the great thing about this year is and I met with the Broncos quarterback club last night, and I know, Mace, you've probably done that as well. Fantastic people,
Yeah, I
great
have.
Broncos fans. And I told him, I said, I love this year because it's like, if you do it, great. And if you don't, great. You got Caleb Williams and Drake May next year.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I mean, honestly, and that's the thing. There are two guys now. I think you've got at least one team that is already kind of that may start putting together pieces. The team that's really intriguing here is the Arizona Cardinals because they have the two top picks, but they've also got Kyler Murray coming back. But you have a new coach and you have a new general manager. And they may not think of Kyler Murray what the previous administration did. And they may be looking to get out from that contract and get one of those two generational guys that are coming up in next year's draft. But here's the thing. If you've got the wherewithal, if you got the capital, and you're willing to sacrifice it, you can move up. And Arizona is particularly interesting because if they're sitting on two top picks, and even if they're thinking, okay, we may get a quarterback with one of them, then that's another pick that can be traded, right? They're going to be they're going to be open for business. And the other thing is, depending on how it goes, it may not be one deal, it may be two deals. It may be, make one deal to get more draft capital during the season or maybe early in the offseason, then make the other deal to leap your way up and get that. And that's the thing. There is another, but to get that other, you're going to have to give up a lot. And it's not just going to be draft capital, it's going to be player capital too. And that's why I think it might be literally two deals to make the leap that you want to make. Like one trade up might be a player to get you higher in the first round. The next trade might involve that future draft capital. Because if you do make this move, prepare to lose at least one star Bronco player and lose at least your next 2 years of first-round picks. But I would argue, Caleb Williams or Drake May, totally worth it.
We talked about it yesterday on the show that doesn't exist. I could see
It
them
existed
trading
for
someone.
you because no one could hear me.
Yeah, exactly. You and I did a great show. Nobody could see it, but anyway, like we talked about it. I could see a October trade, right? And then that gets the Broncos another. The Broncos could have 2 first-round picks after the trade deadline.
Yes.
Now they're not going to trade. They're not getting number 1 overall. Obviously, it's not established. But like come October, they could have 2 first-rounders, and they're just waiting, baby. It's like a race car in red, ready to go to make those deals and to make that move up.
Right. And that's where it depends how the season is flowing. But if you're not off to a good start, I think probably the most obvious trade candidate there would be Justin Simmons, who I really think, he's going into year 8 this year. And if it doesn't show some signs that it's getting better, then I think he may reach a point of exasperation. I think he's at a point of frustration, but he wants to see where this goes.
Right.
But
we'd all excuse him if he was frustrated and exasperated. And honestly, I'd be rooting for him. If the Broncos aren't Super Bowl contenders in 2024, Justin, go win a Super Bowl in the NFC. But go. I would love that for Justin Simmons.
If the team starts off 2-4, I don't think anybody would begrudge him from feeling, okay, it's my turn to move on. Right. Nobody would.
Nobody, buddy.
Exactly. You'd thank him for the terrific work despite being on mostly bad Broncos teams. Symbolically, it would be, oh man, we're doing this again. We traded the late Demaryius Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, Von Miller, Bradley Chubb at midseason. And for what I hope this Broncos season becomes, I hope we're not talking about a trade at midseason, a trade of a player coming in, because the team got off to a good start. Russell Wilson figured it out, and that's the path. That is still the best path. Russell Wilson going forward is the best path. Just as we're talking about, there is another Luke Skywalker in the overall Star Wars canon. Luke was still the best path to rebuilding the Jedi Order. With all due respect to Princess Leia, she ending what she did best. She was she had the Force with her, but she was a better military leader. Luke was better as a Jedi, even though he blamed himself for everything that happened with Kylo Ren. So anyway,
it is
we're
Orange and Blue today, presented by Champ Honda. Our final topic, with only a couple of minutes remaining, Mace, but I know we can do it. The Force Awakens, and we've already been talking about it. Does the Force awaken within Russell Wilson? They've done everything to set him up, better offensive line, ensure the ground game, more weapons. How many flipping weapons do they have in this offense? Adam Troutman, I'm writing about Adam Troutman tonight. Don't sleep on Adam Troutman, ladies and gentlemen. So does the Force awaken in Russell Wilson?
It awakens, but to what degree? Are we talking about him maximizing what he is? Or are we talking about him getting back somewhere below his Seattle level? And honestly, the best possible outcome for the Broncos is, number one, Russell Wilson figuring it out. But number two, behind that, believe it or not, is if it's clear that Russell Wilson doesn't have it. The outcome that is going to be the hardest and most difficult one is if he's somewhere in between, where you say, okay, do we double down? We pick up another $37 million in guaranteed money. We have him on the roster. We guarantee his 2025 salary or not. That's the thing. And honestly, I think when all is said and done, that's where Russell Wilson is going to settle, in that middle ground where there's a genuine debate over whether you bring him back or not. But I hope so. The clearest path to the Broncos is Russell Wilson getting right. That's it. Everything else is an alternative plan. It's a contingency plan.
Right.
Getting Russell Wilson back where he was, that is plan A. There is a plan B.
I don't want Russell Wilson to struggle, and then Jarrett Stidham comes in and do what Brock Osweiler did years ago when he beat the Colts, and cost the Broncos basically the number 2 overall pick. What was that move? Or the Colts were I'm trying to remember.
2017.
The 2017 win over the Colts cost the Broncos the number 2 overall pick. I believe math might be a little bit off.
Yeah.
Because the Jets moved with the Colts, didn't they? For Sam Darnold. Anyway.
They did. And then the Colts moved down to 6 and
got Quentin Nelson.
Yeah.
So that Brock Osweiler win, listen, I could give a damn about Jarrett Stidham. Nicest guy ever, whatever. I don't even care. Like, if it's not working with Russell Wilson, suck. If it's not working with Russell Wilson, we're scrappy and we can get a win. Like, no.
But that's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen with Sean Payton.
It's not going to happen with Sean Payton. I think the absolute floor for this team, everything goes completely wrong. I think the absolute floor is 6 wins. So yeah. I would basically guarantee today that the Broncos will have more wins this year than last year. I feel completely safe in that. And that 6 wins is everything going askew. Russell Wilson remains where he was last year. Jarrett Stidham plays at about the same level. You never get it figured out. Okay? And then you have injuries on top of that, right? But there's a scenario where Russ doesn't figure it out, but Jarrett Stidham is just okay, but your defense plays really well, doesn't have injuries the way it did last year, and all of a sudden you're talking about 8-9 wins, believe it or not. I mean, and special teams being better, that's going to matter as well. The Broncos, even if the QB position isn't right, they're going to win more games in the margins than they did last year, and that I think is another reason why I'm talking about their floor being higher than last year's finish.
Yeah, I might put the floor at 7 games, but you're right on the money there. Better in all 3 phases. And Jose said it earlier, we're going to have to chop it up in another show, which is great because it gives us more topics. Thank you, Jose.
Yes.
If Russell Wilson's like average, I'm moving on.
Yeah.
And he doesn't need to be spectacular and throw 50 touchdowns. He's not. One, they're going to run the hell out of the ball. But a preview topic for later, Mason, we will talk about this. If Russell Wilson is just kind of a little above average and you're moving on. You have to. But anyway.
You do. And you're going to have to eat the money. You're going to have to eat $85 million of dead cap over 2 years. That's a lot. But that's better than eating $122 million, which is what you'd be eating if he's on the roster in 2024. Mm-hmm. So.
All right.
That's the thing.
We give you a little lagniappe because we didn't do a complete show yesterday.
Yeah, and then tomorrow is Mess Around Friday.
Woo!
I'm not going to use the stronger word than mess because,
you could say,
it's a family show.
Well, you could say the letter, right?
Or I could say fart around Friday. Yeah, fart around Friday.
Well, we are in separate studios. You're in your home studio. I'm in the studios here at the Palatial Fan Studios here.
And I can open the window out here and then just let the breeze in and because I'd be very worried about my own olfactory experience if not for that. But hey, so there it is.
There it is. Yep. If, ands, and buts. It's all we covered. All Orange and Blue today, presented by Champ Honda. We love you guys. Make sure to do the YouTube things: like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you never miss a vid. And watching the video to the end really, really helps the algorithm. That might be one of the most important things to help the algorithm. So help us grow our YouTube channel. Tell a friend. Tell everyone in Broncos country about Orange and Blue today. Fun, facts, football, and I won't talk about farting. Anyway, he's Andrew Mason. You follow him on Twitter. He is at Mace Denver. I am at Cecil Lammey. And again, we just appreciate everyone. Be safe. Be kind. Know that you are appreciated. Stay tuned. And as always, please stay frosty.